My guest today is Paula Ward of Know the Game, an organisation that teaches people the ins and outs of Australian sports. Welcome to our program.
Thank you, Suzi, for having me.
Tell us about this business. I'm fascinated.
Yeah, sure. Know the Game is focused on teaching people about sports in Australia. So you may not have grown up in a place where you played sport or you followed it. Perhaps you weren't interested in the particular sport. So you now find yourself in an organisation or a role where you're dominated by a sporting culture. So whether your role is business development, chatting to the blokes around the water cooler, perhaps trying to engage with the senior executives and board members, and sport is a way to facilitate those discussions. So Know the Game focuses on educating people about sport who don't have a strong knowledge of sport so that they're able to be included and engage in those sorts of discussions or host clients at corporate sporting events.
Now, you're a sports enthusiast, but sport hasn't been your background.
No, not directly. However, I've grown up in a male-dominated family, worked in male-dominated organisations, so sport is something that I've grown up with and loved. Everyone in our family has played numerous sports over the years, so it's something that I've been passionate about for my life.
The conversation has been for a while that, you know, some of the biggest deals are done on the golf course. Is this why women particularly should know more about sport?
I think it's got a role to play in it. Certainly in the organisations that I've worked in, it's common for games of golf to happen, deals happen in corporate sporting boxes on the Friday nights or on the weekends, and the ability to be able to engage in those conversations and put yourself out there is an important part. It doesn't mean you will succeed in business or receive a promotion, but it might help you to be on the playing field and have a discussion that puts you in the right place at the right time.
One of my very best friends is a keen rugby league fan. Now, she can name the players, the moves, the games, who's who. We'll be walking down the street and she'll see a player and she recognises them and knows their name, and they could even be from another country. She's really not your normal woman.
Well, I think depending on where you grew up, I think I'm a Queenslander, born and bred, so sport is a part of what you do, what you see, and what you're involved with on a day-to-day basis. Perhaps depending on your cultural background, whether you grew up in Australia, it may not be the norm. So I think it depends on the background and upbringing that you've had and whether sport has been an interest for you as to whether you then can bring that to your role in a corporate sense.
The business itself, could it have occurred in another country, or does Australia have such strange sports that need explanation?
Yeah, I think sport definitely dominates the Australian culture, and we're somewhat unique from that perspective. I think, again, depending on what your background is and where you grew up, it may be something that you need some coaching and advice about to be able to engage in those sorts of discussions. But I certainly think the states have some of their own peculiar sports as well. So arguably there are other countries that could be well placed for as well.
Now, yours is a startup business. It's very, very new. What are 3 things that you've learned since you started?
I think it's to follow your passion. That's going to help drive you to work hard to succeed, and it'll also sustain you during the difficult times. Network. Don't be afraid to ask for advice. Listen to the variety of ideas and thoughts that people give you. Take the time to distill it and really think it through, chart your own course and make your own decisions. And finally, I'd say stay authentic, be true to yourself and maintain the integrity in what you're trying to do and in who you are.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Thank you.